Hello and welcome to today's explainer. If you've ever found yourself just staring up at the ceiling at 2 a.m., your thoughts racing like a runaway train over some random conversation you had literally 5 years ago, well, then you're in the right place, because this one is absolutely for you. Today, we're unpacking a profoundly simple yet deeply layered concept, the central thesis of the restless mind. We're going to safely and methodically examine a mental state that, honestly, so many of us focused learners know just a little too well.
So, can an overthinker ever truly rest? It sounds like a simple yes or no question, right? But if you're the kind of person who naturally dissects and turns ideas over and over in your head, you know this is kind of the ultimate mystery. Why is it that the more we try to force our minds to quiet down, the louder they actually seem to get? Well, that is exactly the paradox we're unraveling today.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, the restless mind. Before we can even begin to understand why peace is completely absent, we really have to look objectively at what is actually present.
Our source text describes the restless mind as a mental landscape characterized by continuous, unbroken cognitive activity that fundamentally resists settling. I want you to really absorb that phrase for a second, resist settling. It's basically like a laptop where the cooling fan just will not turn off. And what's absolutely vital to take away here is that this isn't some sort of personal failure. Your mind isn't broken. You are simply navigating a terrain where your thoughts are in perpetual, inescapable motion.
And this builds right into what's called the perpetually active state. Think about it, if the restless mind is a landscape, well, this active state is its permanent weather system. Our source basically implies that this restlessness, it's actually your baseline operating system. Your mind is functioning exactly as it was built to. It's constantly churning, predicting, and analyzing. It's not malfunctioning at all. It's just fulfilling a very, very exhausting nature.
So, now that we've mapped out that landscape, we enter Section 2, Overthinking Defined. Let's really get into the specific mechanical engine that's driving all of this restlessness.
And this brilliantly illustrates the exact trajectory of our internal lives. Step 1, think. That's a totally natural, neutral action, right? But then step 2, overthink. That's the sudden acceleration of that thought way beyond its basic utility. And finally, step 3, lose peace, the inevitable consequence. You see, an overthinker doesn't just arrive at step 3 by accident. The very process of adding friction to a thought strips your peace away in this continuous, unbroken chain reaction.
Which brings us to an exact excerpt from our source, and I want to read this really deliberately. Why overthinkers never feel peace. Let that sink in for a moment. Just 6 words, yet they hold the entire architecture of the restless mind. It doesn't say they rarely feel peace. It makes a definitive, totally unyielding claim about human psychology.
When we unpack this thesis, it reveals 3 distinct pillars. First, the why, which promises us a root cause. Second, the overthinker, identifying the specific person caught in this loop. And third, the conclusion, never feel peace. Now notice how the lack of peace isn't just framed as having a bad mood for a day. It's a direct, unavoidable psychological effect. Basically, if you embody point 2, you are absolutely guaranteed the outcome in point 3.
So the crucial point here is the absolute nature of the word never. We really cannot gloss over this. It is without a doubt the heaviest concept in this entire framework. The source uses never to emphasize the sheer impossibility of peace within the state. It essentially slams the door shut, forcing us to confront the stark reality that overthinking and peace are mutually exclusive. And honestly, that sobering realization leads us right into Section 3, the illusion of peace. Here, we're shifting our focus to the target state the overthinker desperately seeks out, but just cannot reach. Let's make sure we clearly define this target. Peace is defined strictly within the logical confines of our text as the total absence of mental restlessness. It is a state completely blocked by continuous overthinking. If the restless mind is unbroken noise, peace is the absolute vacuum of it. It's the profound silence the overthinker is constantly trying to listen for over the deafening roar of their own analysis.
Now, what's incredibly interesting here is the immediate juxtaposition of these 2 states. On one hand, the restless mind is continuous, seeking, and hyperactive. On the other hand, peace requires stillness, resolution, and being totally settled. These traits fundamentally repel each other. You literally cannot be continuously seeking while simultaneously experiencing resolution. To engage in one state is to automatically banish the other.
And that brings us face to face with the core paradox implied by our source material.
This is the real tragedy of the overthinker's dilemma. The very act of trying to think your way into a state of peace is exactly what prevents that peace from arriving. It's like trying to put out a roaring fire by tossing more wood onto it. The mental work itself is the overthinking that blocks the peace.
As we bring this explainer to a close today, I want to leave you with a lingering, deeply provocative question. If the restless mind never feels peace, what does it feel instead? If true peace is a locked door for the overthinker, what room are they actually standing in? I want you to take this question with you today because, understanding the absolute absence of peace really is the first step to understanding the profound, incredibly human reality of your own brilliant, restless mind. Keep that curiosity alive, and I will see you in the next explainer.